So a little while back, I got a comment under one of my videos asking what summers usually look like for PhD students. And then it occurred to me that I really don't know. I have no freaking idea. Granted, last summer was my first summer as a PhD student, and I spent pretty much all of it at home working on my master's thesis. So like unintentionally, my entire last summer was kind of preoccupied and like pre-decided for me, like what I would be doing, because I had no choice but to use it to finish my master's thesis. The only decision I made was that instead of staying here in my apartment, I went home to visit family and work on it there. However, I now am approaching my second summer as a PhD student because the second year of my program is almost over. And up until literally probably like last week, I had no clue what I was gonna do. Or at least like concretely, I had no idea what I was gonna be doing. It was more of just like things I anticipated or things I like wanted to do and wanted to find a way to do. But last week basically was like the week I finalized what my summer plans were gonna be, mainly because news was discovered that I was waiting on to hear in order to really finalize my plans in the first place. So today I am going to share with you not only what my plans are gonna be for the summer, but also just a little bit more generally based on talking to my colleagues and kind of what they've been doing and what they plan to do, just what summers as a PhD student typically look like or can look like. Hey, hello, my name is JoJo and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. So first, my summer. So first thing, I apparently like to punish myself. And so I decided to take a summer class again. Depending on how long you've been watching my channel, you may remember that I took a summer class last summer. Last summer, the class took up basically, I believe it was like the entire summer, but it was an online course. It was a self-paced online course essentially. And so I kind of just worked on the assignments for that class in between working on my thesis. But this summer I am taking a 2-week intensive course on trauma research and therapy. And really, I almost decided not to take it simply because it's a 2-week intensive course, because that means that we're gonna be meeting pretty much every day, almost every day, I believe. I think there's a day or two that we're not meeting, but almost every day for the whole day during those 2 weeks. So from like 9 or 10 a.m. until like 4 p.m. But I decided to do it because I know some folks who took the class last summer and they loved it. Clinically and research-wise, I'm very interested in trauma work. And so I decided, why not? It's only 2 weeks and I'll have a little bit of a break before that because the spring semester ends mid-May. So it shouldn't be too bad. So that is at least what I'm doing for the first half of June. As far as the rest of my summer goes, my original plan was to find a summer teaching position and stay up north and then just like go home for a little bit, like a week in August, right before classes started back up. However, my mother just persistently insisted that I come home at least for part of the summer. And thanks to both of my very loving and supportive parents, I am very privileged in that I can go home and not have to worry about working for the summer because they will support me in that way, at least for these couple of months. And so with that, my mom won. She fought me on it for a really long time, and she won. And so I do plan on going home at least for part of the summer. So that's probably what I'm gonna do after my summer class ends in June. I will be flying home to be with family for a few weeks. Then from there, as y'all know, because I announced it in my update video, I have a conference to go to over the summer where I will be presenting a poster on my master's thesis. And that conference is actually happening in July. So in July, I will be going to that conference. It's out of state. So I will be there for the weekend. And after that conference, I will be flying back to New Jersey because I made plans a very long time ago that I'm committed to and is already paid for, and I cannot get a refund. So I will be flying back for that. And then again, we'll be flying back to meet family for our annual family vacation that we take every summer. And in the midst of all of that, I will be continuing to work on my dissertation proposal that I will be defending in the fall. So needless to say, I have a very shockingly busy summer planned, but busy in the complete opposite way that I intended it to be busy. I wanted to just be working and then doing my dissertation proposal and then have the conference now. But now I will be traveling a lot, so that's fun too. So yes, that is what I will be doing this summer. So now on to what PhD students or some PhD students tend to do during the summer or can do in the summer. I'm kind of just gonna run through all of the options based on what I know and from what my colleagues have told me their summer plans are, and hopefully just cover all of the general summer bases, you know? So first, to be quite honest, most of my colleagues have told me that they at least try to have somewhat of a vacation during the summer. They intentionally try to do as little as possible. And of course, this is really only kind of possible if you have the privilege of not having to find a job for the summer or anything like that. And I know that at least 3 of my cohort members work either full or part-time jobs outside of the program. But other than that, for the most part, students are tired. PhD students are tired and try to do as little as possible over the summer. But with that, what they do manage to do or what they do try to do will vary a lot depending on what they're trying to accomplish. So the first option would be, like I'm doing, to take summer classes. Sometimes it's just easier to take a class during the summer, especially if you're just trying to fill your elective credits. Summer classes just tend to be easier. And so using the summer months to knock out your elective credits so that you don't have to worry about them in the fall and spring and you can lessen your course load is something that a lot of folks try to do. And that's actually why I'm taking the summer class that I'm taking. It's because I don't want to have to take another extra class in the fall or spring of next year. I'm really trying to keep my course load down as much as possible as I finish up my credits so that I am not absolutely exhausted when I'm on externship next year. Summer classes can also kind of be an iffy situation depending on your funding. The way my program works is they are able to provide funding for summer classes for the PhD students depending on how many credits you are enrolled in. But that may not be the case for all programs. So it really kind of just depends on what funding opportunities are available, and that's something to keep in mind. The next option would be to find paid research work of some kind, usually a research assistantship. To find those, usually if you're on a university listserv, they usually start sending out listings for those or opportunities in mid-March-ish. That you can apply for and interview for. And those are a really good way to both make sure that you're making money over the summer and still get research experience. And the related option to that would be paid teaching work, which is what I wanted to do. And again, those start kind of getting sent out through listservs about mid-March, maybe a little bit earlier, for summer teaching positions at the undergrad level or even high school level. I've seen recently a few posts go out for tutors for elementary and middle school students. And so those are really the 2 options that are available if you want to both get experience and make sure that you're getting paid. The next option would be to attend and present at conferences like I will be doing for the first time ever. So attending and presenting at conferences can be very costly. There are usually like scholarships and travel funds that you can apply for in order to like offset the cost, but it's a lot of work to like find and make sure that you apply for those, but they're there. Similar to summer classes, a lot of times it's just easier to attend conferences over the summer because you don't have to really work around your schedule of like classes and work. And also, I feel like most conferences happen during the summer months. I think over the next few months of summer, I know of, I think at least like 3 or 4 conferences that are happening, all of which are like very popular conferences too. And so it's just easier to attend conferences over the summer. There's just fewer other obligations to work around. And attending conferences over the summer, even if you're not presenting at them, is a great way to get exposed to other people in the field and connect and network and all of that good stuff that they say you really need to do. So with that in mind, I'm very much looking forward to my first conference, my first in-person conference, because I've attended conferences over the past few years, but because of the pandemic, they've all been online and like virtual. This is going to be the first in-person one that I've attended ever. And the final option that I have here on my list is kind of like the one that really determines whether or not you can do all the rest. In a way, not really, but also kind of really, is starting your externship and or internship position. So when PhD students apply for externships and internships, each site has the ability to determine their own start date for their externs and interns. So some sites may not start you until the actual school semester starts in like August and September. Other sites start you in the summer, like end of June, early July. And so if you are a PhD student who applied for a site that starts you in the summer, then that really means that that is your summer. Starting your externship or internship will be your summer, because there's usually like training leading up to that or at the very beginning of that, that you are required to attend, and you kind of just immediately jump into the work. I know a few folks in my cohort whose externships are starting on July 1st. I purposely applied for externships that did not start on July 1st. All of the sites I applied for started in September. So I will not be starting my externship until September. But there are a few folks that I know of whose externships start in July. And I feel so bad for them. So that's gonna be their summer, is starting their externships. And depending on your hours and which days, that will determine kind of when you can do all of the other stuff. So when you can work, when you can do your summer classes, when you can go to conferences, when you can actually like take a vacation if that's something that you want to do. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm sure there are other things that I didn't cover like more specifically, but in general, like those are kind of the options that are available to you as a PhD student for like things to do during your summer months, in addition to like continuing to work on your own research and your dissertation and stuff. So with that, my question to y'all that I want you to answer down in the comments, if you have made it this far in the video, what are you doing over the summer? What are your summer plans? I told you mine, and now I want to hear yours because I'm nosy. So yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I truly appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you don't miss my next upload. And I'll see you in my next one.